I'm not sure we're going to know the full impact of the trial for a while.
I don't know when it's going to hit, what's going to hit. Is it going to be tomorrow? Is it going to be a week? It's going to be a year. That's my concern.
Over the weekend, Chad Guy Daybell became the latest convicted murderer to be sent to Idaho's death row. In order to sentence someone to death in Idaho, a jury has to unanimously agree there was at least one aggravating circumstance. In the triple murder case of Chad Daybell, the same jury that convicted him of killing his first wife of nearly 30 years and two of his current wife's children, they had to then decide if that triple murder was, quote, especially heinous, atrocious, I should say, or cruel, or manifesting exceptional depravity, and if he showed an utter disregard for human life. All 12 jurors did that on Saturday after about 8 hours of deliberation. Well, today we're hearing from some of those jurors, 6 of the 17, about what it took to hand down that death sentence. They spoke with Abby Davis, who's been covering this trial since the beginning.
What led you guys to decide that Chad was guilty? What were the deciding factors?
The prosecution had an overwhelming amount of evidence.
And we went through it. If someone had questions, we dove in, we found the answers, we found whatever supported where we were going, discussed, is there something that we didn't think of that would change our minds? So I'm very proud of the group that we had, that we did a thorough job and discussed everything. But as Roy mentioned, the prosecution put up a great case. And it made our decision, I don't want to say easy, but it pointed us in a direction pretty quickly.
I know as an alternate, and we had talked about it afterwards, there was complete support for the 12 that were deliberating.
So if the deliberating jurors were different,
it wouldn't have mattered.
Wouldn't have mattered.
Not at all.
As you were sitting there, did you guys get angry at points?
I got very angry, especially the more you had the evidence of what emails he sent, what texts he sent, what he said about children that weren't even his, that he needed to raise the pain and turn up the dark. And it was like, this is unbelievable that this person is that much of a narcissist, to think he was the Holy Ghost, to think he was at the right hand of God. I just don't know how someone gets to that point.
How hard was it to decide that he deserved death?
That was probably the hardest part. We were surprised he didn't say anything at the end. Not that that would have changed our mind at all, but at least it would have been maybe eye-opening to say, okay, are there mitigating factors that should come into play? And no.
Whether they deserve it or not, it's not an easy thing to do.
It was very emotional, still is very emotional. When I think about it, I'm sure all these guys feel the same. Knowing that you were one of 12, one of 18 that condemned somebody basically to death. That's a heavy burden to live with the rest of your entire life.
Is there anything that you guys want to say to any of the victims' families?
I hope it gives them some closure.
We can't know exactly how they feel, but going through and listening to all the testimony and everything that these people have gone through for the last 4 years, including the prosecutors and the law enforcement officers, the FBI, many of them cried, many of them had tears, and it was extremely emotional for all those people. And I think that's something that I still feel. My heart breaks for every single one of those people, knowing that they were actually there, that they went through it, that they had to find the children, that, it was a horrific thing.
The Idaho Supreme Court automatically reviews any death penalty sentences. Chad could also appeal separately and claim ineffective counsel. Brian?
Okay, that's something we'll touch on here in just a bit. But
yeah.
You heard the term anger, the emotion. That's one of the emotions. There's a lot of emotions wrapped up in this. They saw a lot of heinous stuff and heard a lot of bad things during this trial. What about counseling for some of these jurors if they choose that?
Yeah, that's something that one of the jurors brought up. The state is actually paying for all of them to get counseling if they want that, and that is something that one juror was excited to take advantage of. Obviously, this is, slightly traumatic to go through.
Right.
They saw a lot of graphic things. They heard a lot of very emotional testimony, and it's an experience, that they say really bonded them for life, and that if and when the day comes that Chad is put to death, again, we don't know if that will happen. He could die on death row because the appeals process can take decades and decades. They say if and when that day does come, that will be very hard for them.
Yeah, as you heard, I mean, that's a burden. That's a long time to carry that with them.
Yeah,
So
and they
it's
don't
amazing.
know really when it'll really hit them, the gravity of what they had to do, what they had to see, and what they had to hear.
But all of them very confident in their decision.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Abby.